Weddings are supposed to be magical. A once-in-a-lifetime kind of event where your loved ones gather to celebrate your happiness, your future, and the beginning of a new chapter. I had always imagined my wedding day with my parents standing proudly beside me, my dad walking me down the aisle, my mom tearing up as I said I do. But what I got instead was something I wouldn't wish on anyone. It started months ago when my fiancée and I finally decided to tie the knot after 4 years of dating. We'd been through thick and thin, job losses, family dramas, relocations, and made it through stronger. We knew we wanted a small, intimate wedding, something personal and meaningful. I was never the over-the-top bride type, but I still wanted my family there, especially my parents. I'm their only daughter. We sent the invitations out early, nearly 6 months in advance. I even drove 2 hours to hand-deliver theirs. My mom looked at the envelope and smiled half-heartedly. "That far away?" she asked, frowning at the location. It was at a small vineyard out of town, nothing crazy, just peaceful, beautiful, and special to us. I explained why we chose it. It's where my fiancée proposed. My dad barely glanced up from his phone. "That's the same weekend as Ryan's barbecue, isn't it?" he said flatly. I froze. Ryan, my younger brother, throws an annual barbecue party in our hometown. It's basically an excuse for him and his beer-guzzling friends to grill meat, blast music, and get drunk. It's not even a family event, it's chaos. And yet, somehow, my dad was comparing that to my wedding. My mom shot him a look but didn't say anything. "I'm sure he can move it," I said, trying to sound hopeful. "I mean, this is my wedding. I need you both there." They said they'd see what they could do. That's all. No excitement. No follow-up questions. No dress shopping, no planning, no interest. Weeks went by. My fiancé's family called often, his mom even helped me pick out the centerpieces. My own mother hadn't called once. I tried not to let it hurt, but deep down, I knew something was off. I brought it up again during a call. "So, are you two coming? I need a final head count." My mom sighed like I was pressuring her. "Sweetheart, Ryan really wants us to be there. He's already ordered food, and he invited the neighbors. Your father said we can't cancel on him now. It would be rude." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Are you kidding me?" I snapped. "You're skipping my wedding for a backyard barbecue?" There was silence on the other end. Then my dad cut in. "It's not just a barbecue. It's a tradition. We've gone every year. And honestly, the vineyard is too far. Your mother gets migraines on long drives. It's just not feasible." I felt my heart drop. I tried everything, offered to pay for a hotel, offered to send someone to pick them up. But they were firm. They weren't coming. I cried that night, harder than I had in years. My fiancé held me and tried to make me feel better. "You still have me," he said gently. "And the people who love you will be there." And they were. Our wedding day was beautiful. His parents, our close friends, a few of my cousins, everyone who mattered showed up. We laughed, we danced, and we made memories. But as I stood in my wedding gown, walking down the aisle alone, I felt that ache. That empty space where my dad should have been. I kept thinking, how could they? How could my own parents put my brother's party above the most important day of my life? The pictures went up on social media. I posted them with a smile on my face, but the caption stung. "A perfect day, even if not everyone could make it." Ryan didn't even like weddings. He wasn't even that close to me. But my parents had chosen him. Again. And I wasn't about to let it go. That night, as I sat beside my new husband on the patio of our honeymoon cottage, sipping wine and staring at the stars, I made a quiet vow to myself. If they chose to miss my wedding, then they would miss much, much more. After our wedding, I didn't call my parents for a while. I couldn't. The pain was still too raw, and every time I thought about what they didn't do, I felt a rush of emotions I couldn't process. It wasn't just about them skipping the ceremony. It was the choice they made so casually. They weren't busy saving lives or stuck in a snowstorm. They were flipping burgers in Ryan's backyard. My husband, Adam, was patient. He never pushed me to call them, never said maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. He knew it was a big deal. "You deserve better," he told me. "If you were my daughter, I wouldn't have missed your wedding for the world." The weeks turned into months. My mom sent a couple of texts, "Hope you're doing well, and saw your wedding pictures, you looked lovely." But I didn't respond. My dad didn't even pretend to check in. And Ryan? He had the audacity to tag my parents in a Facebook photo from the barbecue that weekend. The caption, "Best weekend of the year. Family time." I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw my phone across the room. But I didn't. Instead, I quietly started pulling back. I stopped visiting for birthdays and holidays. I didn't send them updates or photos. When my cousin got married later that year, I made sure I arrived late and left early to avoid sitting at their table. They noticed, of course. My mother eventually called and left a voicemail. She sounded tired and confused. "I don't know what's going on with you," she said. "But I miss you. Please call me." Still, I didn't. I wasn't ready. I needed them to feel the absence they created. And then, things started changing. Adam got promoted and we moved to a bigger city 2 states away. We bought a charming little house in a quiet neighborhood, with a backyard big enough for a garden and maybe, one day, a swing set. We made friends, started building a life. A good life. One afternoon, about a year after the wedding, I found out I was pregnant. I stood in the bathroom staring at the test, tears pooling in my eyes, not from fear, but from an overwhelming wave of joy and disbelief. I had always wanted to be a mom, and now, it was happening. I imagined holding a tiny baby in my arms, reading bedtime stories, buying tiny socks. I pictured Adam's face when I told him, and I couldn't wait. He was over the moon. He lifted me up and spun me around, and we cried together. Later that night, he asked gently, "Are you going to tell your parents?" And I hesitated. "They weren't there for our beginning," I said, my hand on my stomach. "Do they deserve to be there now?" Adam didn't pressure me, but I knew he hoped I would reach out. He's the kind of person who believes in second chances. I'm not. Still, I decided to give them one opportunity. Just one. I mailed them a card. A simple white envelope with a photo of the ultrasound and a note that said, "Coming soon, baby, last name, expected March 15th. No phone call. No dramatic announcement. Just the bare minimum. A week later, my mom called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. "Oh my God, are you really? Please call me. Please, honey. I need to hear your voice." The next day, my dad called too, first time in years he'd ever called me directly. Again, I let it go to voicemail. "Listen," he said stiffly, "we'd like to be involved. I know we didn't make the best decision last year. But this is family. Let's talk." Now they cared. Now that I had something they wanted to be a part of. I wasn't interested. As the months went on, I ignored their attempts to reconnect. They sent baby clothes in the mail, generic stuff. Onesies, little bibs, a pair of shoes. No note, no apology, just objects trying to buy their way into a life they didn't show up for. I didn't send thank you notes. I didn't call on Christmas. And when I finally went into labor, I didn't even consider calling them. It was me, Adam, and a wonderful nurse named Lydia who held my hand during contractions when Adam ran to the car for my hospital bag. Our son was born healthy and beautiful. We named him Noah. He had Adam's soft brown eyes and my nose. He was perfect. We announced his birth online the next day. Just one post. "Welcome to the world, Noah James. You are so loved." The comments came pouring in. Friends, Adam's family, coworkers. Then, I got a private message from my mom. "You had the baby and didn't even tell us? We're your parents. How could you do this to us?" I didn't reply. They skipped my wedding. They skipped my first day of married life. Now they'd skipped my child's first breath. And I was fine with that. But they weren't. That's when they started trying harder. More calls. More messages. My mom even drove all the way to our new house one afternoon without telling me. She knocked on the door with a casserole dish in her hands, smiling nervously. Adam answered. "She's not ready to see you," he said kindly but firmly. "You should go." She looked crushed. But she left. I was watching from the nursery window the entire time. And that's when I realized this wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about boundaries. They made a choice the day they skipped my wedding. And I had every right to choose who I allowed into my child's life. They didn't deserve automatic forgiveness. They'd need to earn it. And I wasn't sure they were capable of that. Noah turned 1 in March. His cake had more frosting on his face than on the actual dessert, and Adam couldn't stop laughing as he tried to clean him up. I snapped photos, his crooked little smile, his eyes shining with joy, the one tiny tooth poking through. I should have been overwhelmed with happiness, but in the back of my mind, something gnawed at me. Something painful. The absence. My parents hadn't met him. Not once. Not a call. Not even a gift. And yet, they were obsessed with being grandparents to Ryan's kids. Every week, I saw Facebook updates from my mom, at Emma's ballet recital, baking cookies with Liam, hosting movie nights, picking them up from school. They even went on a cruise with Ryan's family last summer. There were pictures of my mom in a floppy hat holding Liam, and my dad teaching Emma how to fish. It was like they were playing the role of the perfect grandparents, just not for my son. I wish I could say I was surprised. But I wasn't. Disappointed? Constantly. Hurt? Deeply. But surprised? No. They'd already made their priorities clear on my wedding day. The pain wasn't just from their absence, it was from their hypocrisy. They claimed they loved family, valued connection, prioritized traditions. But those values only seemed to apply when it came to Ryan. And the worst part? They still expected me to reach out. Around Noah's first birthday, a card arrived in the mail. The handwriting on the envelope was familiar, my mom's. Inside was a store-bought birthday card with some generic rhyming message and a line scribbled in ink. We hope one day we'll get to meet our grandson. Love always, Mom and Dad. No apology. No ownership. Just expectations. I didn't reply. Later that week, Ryan called me. That in itself was rare. He usually only texted when he wanted something. But this time, he had an agenda. Hey, just wanted to check in, he said casually, as if we spoke all the time. I knew it was coming. I stayed quiet. So, Mom's been kind of a mess lately. She really misses you. Dad too. They talk about Noah all the time. I stayed silent. Ryan continued, look, I get it. The wedding thing was unfortunate. But are you really gonna keep punishing them forever? Punishing them? That was rich. They skipped the biggest day of my life, Ryan. To go to your cookout. He sighed. You're still mad about that? Come on. They didn't think it was that serious. It's just a wedding. They thought you'd understand eventually. I nearly dropped the phone. Just a wedding? I almost shouted, but something in me just broke instead. A quiet sort of hurt. You know what, Ryan? I hope one day someone skips something that matters to you, and then calls it not that serious. Maybe then you'll get it. And I hung up. That night, Adam held me as I cried. I didn't even know why the tears kept coming, it had been over a year. But I think I'd been holding it in, pretending like their absence didn't matter, when really, it did. I'm so tired of being the one expected to forgive, I whispered. Adam gently replied, you don't owe anyone access to your peace. Not even family. He was right. So I made a decision. From that moment on, I stopped shielding them from the life they chose to miss. I didn't block them on social media anymore. I posted every photo, every video, Noah's first swim, his first visit to the zoo, his first time saying mama. I wasn't trying to brag or twist the knife. I just wanted to stop pretending like they weren't watching. I wanted them to see the life they walked away from. The one they could have been part of. And they were watching. I could see the views, the little scene notifications, the random likes from my mom's second account. Then, in July, a letter came. A real one. Handwritten. From my dad. He'd never written me a letter before, not even when I went off to college. It was short. I wish I could go back. We made the wrong call. We were trying to be fair to Ryan, but we were unfair to you. I see that now. I see it in every photo we're not in, every memory we're not part of. I don't expect you to forgive us. But I needed you to know we messed up. Dad. It wasn't a perfect apology. But it was something. I read it 3 times. Still, I didn't call. Not yet. Because the truth was, this wasn't about one bad decision. It was a pattern. A lifelong one. Choosing Ryan. Defending him. Prioritizing his wants over my needs. From childhood birthday parties to college tuition arguments to the most important day of my adult life, my wedding. If they wanted back in, they couldn't just apologize for that day. They had to acknowledge all of it. A few weeks later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. It was my mom. Her voice cracked as she spoke. Hi, sweetheart. I know I don't have the right to call you that anymore. I read your post. The one about family showing up. You're right. We didn't. And I think about it every single day. Your dad, he cries sometimes. We talk about Noah all the time. We've missed so much. And it's our fault. I'm sorry. I truly am. I know we can't fix it. But we're here. If you ever decide you want us back in your life, we're here. I replayed the voicemail at least 10 times. It felt sincere. But sincerity doesn't erase years of pain. Adam looked at me and asked gently, what do you want to do? And I told him the truth. I don't know. I think I want them to feel this silence a little longer. Because while I wasn't interested in revenge, I also wasn't going to offer forgiveness as a reflex. That's what they were used to, me being the peacekeeper, the bridge. But I was done being a bridge for people who only walked on me. In the fall, we took Noah to a pumpkin patch. He wore tiny overalls and picked the smallest pumpkin he could lift. I posted a picture of him holding it triumphantly, and my mom commented from her main account for the first time in over a year. "He's perfect. Just like you were at that age. I'm sorry I missed this. I'm sorry I missed so much." No excuses. No guilt tripping. Just honesty. It was a start. And maybe, just maybe, I could start too. But on my terms. No more pretending everything was okay. No more minimizing what they did. If they wanted to be in Noah's life, in our life, they'd have to do the work. Consistently. Patiently. Quietly. Because rebuilding trust doesn't come with shortcuts. And while they had missed my wedding, they were dangerously close to missing everything else. 2.2 years had passed since my wedding, the one they didn't attend because of a barbecue. 2 years filled with milestones they should have been part of, and memories they forfeited the moment they chose burgers over me. Noah had just turned 2. He was walking now, babbling full sentences in that sweet toddler gibberish only Adam and I understood. He called Adam Dada and me Mama. He had no concept of grandparents. To him, our small family was complete. Peaceful. Whole. But deep down, I knew I had a decision to make. My parents had been trying, in their own slow and awkward way, to reach out. Apologies had come, some sincere, others sounding like thinly veiled attempts to wipe the slate clean. But forgiveness isn't a reset button. It's a process. And I wasn't sure I wanted to offer them the privilege of being part of Noah's life just yet. Then, one day, I got a call from Aunt Linda, my mom's sister. "She's in the hospital," she said quietly. "Your mom. Pneumonia. It's serious." My heart tightened. For all the anger I held, the idea of never seeing her again left a cold, sinking feeling in my chest. I drove to the hospital alone. Adam stayed home with Noah. I needed to face this ghost from my past on my own terms. When I entered the room, she looked so small. Pale. Tired. A machine beeped softly beside her. She opened her eyes and gave a weak smile. "You came." I sat. Silent for a while. Watching her. Studying her face. It had aged since I last saw her. There was sorrow in her expression. Real, unfiltered sorrow. "I didn't know if you'd ever want to see me again," she whispered. I didn't answer right away. I looked out the window, then back at her. "You know," I said, "you weren't just absent from my wedding. You missed so much more. My pregnancy. Noah's birth. His first steps. His first words." She nodded, eyes glistening. "I know," she said softly. "And I regret it every single day." We sat in that silence, two women linked by blood, broken by choices. For once, she didn't try to defend it. She didn't mention Ryan. Didn't blame me for the distance. She just sat with the pain. I exhaled. "I don't know what happens next," I told her honestly. "But I'm not going to pretend it didn't hurt. And I'm not ready to erase it." Tears slid down her cheeks. "You don't have to. I just want to try. Even if it takes the rest of my life." When I left that day, I didn't feel lighter. There was no fairy tale closure. No magical moment of reunion. But something had shifted. A door opened, just a crack. Weeks passed. She recovered. Then came a small card in the mail from my dad. No pressure. No pleading. Just a Polaroid of him holding a tiny wooden rocking horse he had carved for Noah. The note read, "If he ever wants it. No expectations. Just love. Dad." It was the first time in a long time I didn't feel manipulated, just seen. Eventually, I let them meet Noah. In a park. In public. With boundaries. They were nervous, unsure. But Noah ran to the rocking horse my dad had brought and squealed with joy. My dad cried. My mom sat silently beside me and whispered, "Thank you. Not for forgiveness. But for the chance." Today, 3 years later, things aren't perfect. But they're honest. We don't forget the past, but we don't live in it either. I've learned that family isn't about blood, it's about presence. It's about showing up when it counts. They missed my wedding. They missed Noah's first year. They can't get that back. And I made sure they understood that. But I also made sure they earned their place, if they wanted one. I never needed revenge. I just needed them to feel the weight of what they threw away. And when they finally did, I let them feel the joy of earning a small piece of it back. The end.